Welcome in everybody to another edition of our Bulls video mailbag series. As always, we appreciate your questions. I have paper and props this week. It's a real one. Our first question comes from @𝗏𝗏 I believe we've had a question from him before, Jackie's youngest baby. He asks, the Bulls are beating Miami in the play-in this year. Actually, he didn't ask, he just declared. What does a potential rotation versus the Cavs look like? Their double big lineup means all three of the Bulls centers have to play, right? All right, well, first of all, I like the optimism. Even if they beat Miami, they got to win another game. If they're playing Miami, that means they're in the 9-10 seed. So they'd have to win 2 games. But let's just speculate, or for hypothetical purposes, say the Bulls are in the playoffs against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think you're absolutely right. You are going to see some of that double big lineup. It's why Billy Donovan has been adamant about trying it throughout the later stages of the season. Not a lot, but he sprinkled it in a little bit. Now, the Bulls have not had a lot of practice time down the stretch like most NBA teams. That is where Billy likes to, experiment with that lineup. You've seen Jalen Smith completely drop out of the rotation, but you also saw in that Denver game when he had not been in the rotation for a long time, you tab him, he jumps right in, he produces. That's what I like about this team. There's a lot of professionalism up and down the roster. So from my seat, you absolutely have to at times match up with that double big lineup of Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. We'll see how Billy Donovan and his coaching staff tackle that, assuming the Bulls get to the playoffs. But yes, the Cavs possess a lot of matchup problems, which is why they're headed for the #1 seed in the East. All right, question number 2 comes from @𝗏𝗏𝗟𝗏. I believe we might have had a question from this person before too. I like it. Will 𝗏𝗏 Buzelis be a long-term power forward for the team? As of now, I see him fitting much better as a small forward. I'm thinking of drafting a power forward like 𝗏𝗏, I believe it's called, or Colin Murray Boyles. I'm showing my lack of college basketball knowledge, or maybe trying to get Naz Reid in the offseason. If I butchered the names of those players, I apologize. I do my draft prep after the regular season. It's well documented. I do not watch college basketball. I talk to scouts and executives once the regular season ends, as we get closer to the draft and we know where the Bulls are drafting. All right, as for 𝗏𝗏 Buzelis, obviously this is a positionless league at this stage of the NBA, so small forward, power forward. To me, it doesn't matter as much. He can really guard both. That's where you peg a player's position. Can he guard threes? Can he guard fours? From my seat, he can guard both. I mean, maybe ideally he'd be more suited for the 3. This is where Patrick Williams comes into play. This was supposed to be the forward tandem for the future. Patrick Williams, the more physical prospect, was supposed to be checking your power forwards. Now, there are not as many traditional power forwards in today's NBA, but again, this was supposed to be the forward tandem for the future. 𝗏𝗏 is going to be playing a lot in the future. Will Patrick Williams eventually reclaim a starting role? Stay tuned. As for targeting a power forward in the draft, again, I think it's way too early. You don't know the Bulls' draft position. I always say you take best player available. So we'll see down the road. I don't even know Naz Reid's current status. I'd have to check that. But let's stay tuned on 𝗏𝗏 Buzelis. Question 3 comes from @JDC_1996. Joe Schmo. Casey J. Hoop, if you can ignore hindsight for a second, would you rather have the Bulls' current situation entering the 2025 offseason? Let's just say they pick where they're slotted right now, or the Bulls entering the 2019 offseason where they were slated or slotted to pick 7th. All right, Joe Schmo actually sent this question in 2 weeks ago, and it was so good, I held it for this week because I wanted to do some research on it. So going back, the Bulls, after the 2018-2019 season, were 22-60, coming off that coaching change where they went from Fred Hoiberg to Jim Boylen, EN. I always have to say Jim Boylen, EN, for us longtime Bulls followers. There was also an interim head coach, Jim Boylen, AN. That's how crazy this franchise is. They had the 7th pick, as Joe mentioned. They used that pick on Coby White, and he was added to a core with Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, Chris Dunn, Wendell Carter Jr. They also added Daniel Gafford in the 2nd round of that pick. So that's a pretty good young core. Now, he says you can't use the benefit of hindsight, right? I mean, would Lauri Markkanen have reached All-NBA status here in Chicago? I personally don't see it. Maybe I could be wrong. Would Chris Dunn have reached the potential all-defensive team status that he is on the verge of if he had played enough games with the Los Angeles Clippers of making it here? I definitely don't see that one. No disrespect to Chris. I covered his whole career here. He was mentally struggling here, obviously battling injuries. A lot of credit to him and testament to him for his perseverance to get to where he is. Wendell, he is what he is. He's like a 12-8 guy, you know, with some blocks. He's definitely a rim protector. Daniel Gafford catching lobs from if they had potentially signed Lonzo Ball. I like that look. I'm kind of dancing around my answer. It's a tough one. I probably would lean the 2019 offseason as opposed to now. Look, Kobe and 𝗏 and Josh Giddey are nice building blocks, but Zach LaVine was an established player at that time, not to the level that he is now. And you got all that young talent. I don't know, man. I will say one situation where the Bulls are better suited by far is Billy Donovan, to me, is a better head coach in the NBA than Jim Boylen, EN. Jim is a wonderful assistant, landed prominently on Rick Carlisle's staff. Billy Donovan is in the Hall of Fame. All right, our last question, I've already lost track because we're having so much fun today, is from @𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗶𝗋. I like that handle. He or she asks, considering we have 13 guards on the roster, which ones are necessary to keep going forward if we want to make the jump to competing? Is Kobe a future trade block guy? I hope not. All right, I mostly included this one because of the last part, because the Bulls obviously don't have 13 guards in the roster. They have a lot. As for who they're going to keep, I've said many times I see Jevon Carter picking up his player option. I think Talen Horton-Tucker maybe elsewhere, although there's a chance he comes back on a minimum. Obviously, the first order of business is re-signing Josh Giddey in the restricted free agent market. Lonzo Ball is already back. Kobe White is under contract. He'll be back. Dalen Terry will be back. They have a lot of guards. As for Kobe, I have speculated on the trade thing. I was one of the ones kind of creating this potential hypothetical trade market. I don't see Kobe White going anywhere, particularly at the level that he's playing at. I do not see the Bulls making an extension offer that is suitable for Kobe White and his representation to take this offseason. All that means is he will be headed for unrestricted free agency in 2026, but the Bulls would have every opportunity to re-sign him then. So I do not see Kobe White being one of the players on the trade block this season. Maybe other guards. I can certainly see the Bulls shopping Jevon Carter and potentially other guards with package deals in Nikola Vucevic talks. But I do not see Kobe White going anywhere. And again, he will have say in that 2026 unrestricted free agent market. But I know the Bulls will make every attempt to re-sign him. All right. I believe that's going to do it for another edition of our Bulls Video Mailbag series. I lost track of our questions because we're having so much fun. Thanks, as always, for all your questions, and we'll be back with more next week.